Hi everyone, in this video we're going to put together this adorable 3D record player. It's a vintage style record player and it's quite a substantial project. It's got a nice case that's got some thick walls to it. I've already assembled the lid to the piece. It looks just like this and it assembles just like the bottom, and I'm going to show you how to put that together. It's got some hinges, a cool little handle. We're going to connect with some mini brads. You might want a little piece of string or ribbon to kind of help. We're going to use it as with the hinge to help keep it from opening too wide. Anyways, let's get started putting this together. I've gone ahead and assembled the little record, which is just a black circle and a red circle and the cream circle. And in the middle, there's these two tiny little pieces to make the little, I don't even know what it's called, but the little rod that goes up through the records. It just opens here on the bottom and you glue those two layers together to make a little stem that will show like it's poking up through the record. Also in the file, you'll find some little discs that look like this. We're just layering those up to make a turntable that can just sit right underneath the record to help build some depth. I've gone ahead and glued all those together, and this is our record player base where we're going to have our record sit. So we've got the little arm, and I've just put some pop dots behind that and the little knob here. So that's super simple to put together. The most complicated part is the box. So we're going to go ahead and put that together here on video. I'm going to move some of these pieces out of the way so we don't worry about them right now. The hinges, the handle will come later. Our string we'll use later. This piece is actually going to slip down inside of the box when we're done so that it will create the area for the turntable. So that leaves us with these pieces here. The shorter two pieces are for the inside of our box. I'll show you what that looks like. It's these inside walls right here. So what we want to do is just go ahead and fold all those. I'm going to use a bone folder to get a nice crease on that. Just going to fold them in all one direction. And our inside is going to be nice and clean without our folds, so we're going to want that to train that to go that direction. And this one's going to come this way, and it's going to glue to its neighbor. And again, you want to be really careful to glue that to the right side. You don't want it showing on the inside of your record player, so you'll want that to go to the outside. I'm going to go ahead and put a little adhesive and that put together just here on this glue tab. Okay, and then we'll just continue folding this all the way around. Fold those glue tabs all the same direction. So in the end, you're going to have a strip that looks like this. All your glue tabs are folded out. All of your inside folds are folding in. And again, if you glue that tab on the inside, you're going to see it. So make sure it goes to that outside area. So be sure and get your adhesive on the correct side of that tab. And then just fold that right over. Perfect. And you can lay that flat and kind of pinch those glue tabs, make sure they're nice and glued. Now that we have this piece, we just need to attach our top frame piece to it. So it's going to look kind of like this. So that means we need to put adhesive on those 4 glue tabs. So in order to do that, let's see, I'm just going to, again, make sure you get this on the correct side. Those tabs, it's a little awkward. You could do this before you glue the whole piece into a circle, but this way will ensure that you don't mess up on which side, get confused. Once you have glue on those tabs, you can just grab that frame, and you're going to want to line up that inside edge so that it looks like a nice window frame there at the corners and the edges. Should come together perfectly, those corners for you. Okay, and then you can just give that a good press. And now we need to work on our outside frame pieces, and then we're going to put this on the back when we're all done. But of course we need to put those outside frame pieces in place first. So let's take those two. This portion with the little holes in it is for our handle. That's going to go on the front of our record player, and you're going to have a little handle that we're going to put in there. So we actually want to put our handle in now before we glue this all in place. So let's bring our handle pieces over. And I'll just set these pieces up here for a moment while we work on the handle. Doesn't matter which direction that you go, but it's going to be completely symmetrical either direction. Okay, so that's the front of our suitcase. And then you're going to take these little pieces with the holes in them and kind of train that to curve. Phone folder, edge of the table, credit card, something like that. And then you're going to take those little holes and line them up and install a mini brad. Before you put the mini brads in though, you need to make sure you put this loop in place. That's what you're going to attach your handle to. So I'm going to grab a couple mini brads here. I'm just going to work on one right now, so I'm not going to worry about that loop quite yet. Go ahead and feed that through the hole. Open that up nice and tight. We'll go ahead and put our loop on and just get it out of the way, and then we'll line up that other hole. Should look something like that. Flip that over. And we'll open that one up again, nice and tight. Perfect, so that's exactly the way it should look on that side. So let's just repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, so we have our little hinges, well, I guess handle loops installed. And now we have our handle to attach. And we're going to do that by training the whole piece to kind of curve. And you might just want to use your finger for that. It's just a nice smooth curve there, but at the end we actually need to wrap that around to make a loop, and we're going to use one more mini brad to install that. So you're going to want to train that pretty heavily to curve, and we'll just feed it through that loop and match up those holes, and we'll use one more mini brad. This looks really cute. It looks like it's you know, substantial, and it's got these little metal brads that just kind of finish it off nicely. We'll just open that up, pinch that open nice and tight, and that's how our handle is going to attach right there. And we'll just repeat that over here on the other side. Looks like I might have got the wrong color on that one somehow. I need to train this a little bit more before I start curving it. Looks like one of my brads got into the wrong little section of my brad holder, my brad container. Okay, we'll just pinch that open. And there we've got our little suitcase handle. So cute. Okay, now we're ready to put the sides together. And this time you don't need to worry about those tabs. They just all go on the inside. They'll be hidden on the inside walls there of that lid. So let's go ahead and attach them here at this tab. The tab side goes to the flat side on the next piece. And we'll just fold those tabs up. Give those a nice press. Actually, you want to press these as well while I'm here. That would have been easier to do before the handle, but that's okay. And then these corners, and again our tab at the end. So I'm going to wait to glue this tab on until I glue all these sides on for this piece. I think it's going to be easier not to have it looped around. So I'm just going to go ahead and put adhesive on one side of this strip, and we'll attach it on, and then we'll go back and do the other side. Now that I have tape runner on all of that side, I'm just going to take it and I'm going to line it up with the front facing here of my box and just line up one side perfectly. And you can lay that down and give it a good press if you need to. And then just work your way around. It's not too hard getting this first side put on because you can get your finger in there to give that a good press. And now you're going to want to put a little adhesive here on this end tab. Maybe easier to use liquid, but I'm going to just use this tape runner the best I can. Tuck that in. So you're going to tuck this side and that end glue tab in all at once. Perfect. And again, I'm going to kind of open that up and see if I can get something down in there to press that nicely. And on that corner, I'm going to get my finger in there and press that. So now we're left with this. We've got two overlapping sides here. Might be easier at this point to use just a little bit of liquid glue rather than try and get tape runner down in there. You might want to pull those up just a little bit so that when you close these down, get a nice contact. And at this point, you just need to be a little bit patient and let everything dry good. And then we'll attach that back on. Make sure that everything's nice and square because we're going to have a piece that slips down into this opening. And we want to make sure it fits in there properly. So just look in there, make sure everything's nice and square. It should be. I'll just show you kind of how this is going to work. Our top is going to go right here on our top of our suitcase like this. And of course, we're going to have a bottom down here. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that bottom on. Okay, and to do the bottom, you just want to do right around the edges because you don't want to see your tape through the middle. So I'm just going to do one width of tape right around those edges. And then we'll flip that over and attach that. Okay, so that completes the bottom of our suitcase. And you might want to put a piece of trim on this. I didn't cut one for it because you really are going to leave that down on the table as you open and close your record player. But if you wanted one down there, you certainly could cut one and put one down there as well. So now inside this bottom piece that we just created with the handle, and I mean, you wouldn't have to use it. You could use this as the lid, as either way, it doesn't matter. But we're just going to slip this. Actually, before we slip it in there, let's go ahead and get it all put together. So it'll be easier to do before we put it in there. So let's go ahead and take our rectangle, rounded rectangle piece and glue that down. And we'll just center that here in this space. Okay, and then we have our turntable. And like I mentioned before, that's just several layers. Let's see, I think it's about six layers of black cardstock to make the turntable. And of course, you could just use pop dots or something else. You wouldn't have to do that. Let's put that right there in the middle of our record on the bottom. And you could put the little stem underneath that so that it pokes up and then the record just sits on top, but I've got everything glued together and that works great too. So now I need to put a little adhesive. In fact, I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive so that I don't ruin my little stop thing on the front there. I'll just center that here. Super cute. Okay, and we'll just take this whole piece and fold those side tabs in and just slip it right down inside of our suitcase. Look how cute that is. And now we have our lid and it fits perfectly on there. And we need to put on our hinges. And actually, before we slide this down in here, I wanted to hook in some strings that doesn't open too wide. So I'm going to slip that back out for now so we can do that work. So I'm just going to line those up right on top of each other, flip that over, and we're going to attach our hinge system back here. And the hinge looks like this. It's just one solid piece and it's got a fold here in the middle. And we're just going to glue all of it. When it opens and closes, it's just going to hinge on that tiny little piece there. So, and you might want to cut those to be double layered so they're a little extra thick. I'm just going to go ahead and run adhesive all the way down that. And then I'm just going to put one on each side. Just make sure everything's lined up the way you want it. Okay, so there's one side. Then we're just going to do the other one. Okay, so that's the hinges. And now you just need to kind of train those to bend the way you want them to. And then we are going to cut this string. It's about 5 inches of string or so. And I'm going to just glue some down in here. And I'm just going to use tape runner. You might want to figure out something that's even stronger. I'm not sure. But I'm just going to kind of glue that right in the center area. I'm going to pull this up and just kind of see how long it needs to be. And maybe cut off a little bit more. You're just going to have to play with it on your record player and see how long it needs to be for your placement. I'm just going to take that string with the adhesive and I'm going to pull that up to where it's at 90 degrees and just glue that in place. So now you can see that that'll keep it from opening too far. So I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. See if I can kind of measure my string length somewhere in there. And just try and match the same placement here and here. Looks like I might have got it just a little too long on this side. And I'll rotate this so you can see it just a little bit better here. Okay, so that's kind of what it's looking like down in here. And this is going to actually help hold it a little bit tighter. So we'll slip that record section down in there. And there you have it. You got your little cute little record player and your little suitcase. How fun is that? You could tie that up with a little string, put a cute phrase or saying on it, give it to somebody for a birthday, use it as a little table decoration for a party, something fun like that. So I hope you enjoy making these darling little 3D vintage record players. and hope you have a great day, and I will see you in another video. Bye-bye.